One evening, while browsing the internet at home, I was searching for ebooks and interesting text files to download and read on my laptop. Hotel internet access in Canada was extremely expensive, so I was taking measures to save money. However, most ebook sites charged a fee for downloading files, so I changed my search to include the word free. Suddenly, I found hundreds of sites offering free downloads. I clicked on a link at the top of the search results and quickly skimmed the list of files, downloading a few that caught my interest. Soon, the phone rang and I had to cut my browsing short. The next evening, I found myself in another hotel room with nothing to do. I opened my laptop and started reading one of the ebooks I had downloaded about gardening. Then, I moved on to a story about maids that I had also downloaded, recognizing the first few lines. I had expected it to be a story about the past, when middle-class families had servants. However, to my surprise, the story took a different turn as the main character, a man, was forced to dress in a maid's uniform by his dominant wife. Although I was shocked by the story, I couldn't help but feel intrigued. I ordered room service and took a shower, but the suspense of the story was too much for me. I opened the file again and settled back to read. As I read, I was introduced to a world I had never known existed. I had grown up in a strict Christian family, and the idea of crossdressing was foreign to me. However, as I read the story, I found myself becoming aroused. That night, I had trouble sleeping as the stories kept running through my mind. Even when I returned home, I couldn't get them out of my head. I spent hours on the internet, reading more and more cross-dressing stories. Eventually, I decided that I wanted to try it for myself. One night, while my wife was away, I poured myself a glass of wine and went upstairs to our bedroom. I opened my wife's lingerie drawer and looked at the silky and lacy garments inside. I hesitated for a moment before closing the drawer, finishing my wine, and taking a shower. I returned downstairs to the computer and continued reading cross-dressing stories. As I read more stories about men cross-dressing, I convinced myself that there was no harm in trying it out. I went back upstairs and opened my wife's lingerie drawer again. This time, I selected a pink satin panty girdle and matching bra. The girdle was made of shiny satin material with elastic inserts. I stepped into it carefully and pulled it up into position. The girdle was very tight, but it felt nice and supportive, just like the men in the stories had described. Looking in the mirror, I could see that the girdle made my waist look slim and all signs of middle-age spread had disappeared. I was surprised at how much the color of the lingerie mattered to me. As I continued exploring my wife's drawer, I found exactly what I was looking for, except for one item that I assumed my wife was wearing. I couldn't resist trying on her little miracle workers, control top pantyhose that made my legs look smooth and toned. Slipping off the bathrobe, I fastened the matching pink bra, feeling the coolness of the satin against my skin. As I looked at myself in the mirror, I couldn't believe how different I looked. The girdle had transformed my midsection, and the bra gave me a slight curve in my chest. Feeling both excited and nervous, I took a deep breath and reached for a pair of nude stockings. I had watched Ella put them on countless times, so I knew the routine. I rolled them up my legs, taking care not to snag them on my toenails. The feeling of the nylon against my skin was incredibly sensual, and I couldn't help but admire how they made my legs look smooth and shapely. With the stockings in place, I put on a pair of black patent pumps that Ella wore to her office job. The heels felt high, but I steadied myself against the bedpost and walked a few steps, feeling a surge of excitement at the unfamiliar sensation. I stood in front of the mirror, feeling a mix of arousal and guilt. I had never felt this way before, and I wasn't sure what it meant. Was I gay? Did I want to become a woman? Or was this just a harmless experiment that I could keep to myself? As I stood there, lost in thought, I heard a car door slam outside. Ella was home early. My heart raced as I quickly took off the lingerie and stuffed it back in the drawer. I put on my bathrobe and headed downstairs, hoping to act casual. Ella walked in the door, looking stunning in a little black dress. "Hi, darling," she said, kissing me on the cheek. How was your night alone? Good, good, I said, feeling nervous and guilty. What's wrong? She asked, sensing something was off. Nothing, just tired from traveling, I said, trying to sound convincing. As the night wore on, I couldn't stop thinking about the lingerie and how much I wanted to wear it again. Over the next few weeks, I found myself sneaking into Ella's lingerie drawer every chance I got, trying on different pieces and admiring myself in the mirror. Eventually, I knew I had to tell Ella. I couldn't keep this secret any longer. One night, after a few glasses of wine, I blurted out the truth. I've been trying on your lingerie, I said, feeling embarrassed and ashamed. Ella looked surprised but not angry. Is that all? She said, smiling. I thought you were going to tell me you were having an affair or something. No, it's just, I don't know, it feels good, I said, feeling relieved to have finally shared my secret. Well, if it makes you happy, then I don't see the harm in it, she said, putting her hand on my shoulder. Over time, Ella and I talked more about my desire to wear lingerie, and she even bought me some of my own to wear. I realized that my love of lingerie didn't make me gay or trans, but it was simply a part of who I was. Now, years later, I still enjoy wearing lingerie, but it's no longer a secret or a source of shame. I've learned to accept myself for who I am, and my relationship with Ella is stronger than ever. I've come to realize that true love means accepting someone for all their quirks and desires, even if they don't fit society's norms.